Welcome to the Browns preview show. G. Bush, John Kosko. I believe week 6, right? Week 6.
Yeah, we're in week 6 now.
Man, I can't believe it's like week 6 already. But we coming off one of the best games. A lot of people were saying in the NFL with the Chargers and the Browns. But man, I'm not gonna lie, man. I can't get this one out of my mind a little bit, man. This one hurt for me. It hurt more than even the Kansas City Chiefs game. It hurt more than that because there's a couple of things that are glaring to me in terms of what this game signified and some of the things moving forward. We were giving up a lot of claps, giving a lot of flowers for Joe Woods and his defense, but two things came back to haunt us again. MAs, missed assignment, bust assignments, blown assignments in the secondary, giving up large amounts of points, costing us big time, and not really very much pressure on quarterbacks. You look at it, they've now just put Justin Herbert in the Hall of Fame for what he did in that game. We'll start off with the missed assignments. First of all, I don't see this with other units. It's just these missed assignments for big chunk plays. We saw it in Dallas. We saw it in Kansas City. We saw it, a couple times this game, and we saw it last year. We thought it was just the players, or maybe we got upgrades. But what do you think is the deal with this defense and blown assignments?
The first big one where they, you had Mike Williams go wide open for the touchdown on the post route. They had a bracket coverage going on, and Grant Delpit and AJ Green both were bad on this. So like AJ Green's expecting that he has help inside from Grant Delpit. Grant Delpit have no clue what he was doing in this play. Just kind of staring at Keenan Allen running in and out, who was covered in man-to-man by, I think it was Troy Hill at the time. He needed to have the inside leverage on that, and AJ Green needed outside leverage and on top of that. So I don't know what AJ Green was doing, why he just, like, as he broke in on his post, just kind of like almost let up, expecting Grant Delpit to be there, and he needed to stay on top of that. So that was essentially a bust by Grant Delpit and just bad play by AJ Green. And you talk about the second one, where he was just wide open, and they talked about how it was a miscommunication between John Johnson and Ronnie Harrison. I call BS on that. That was just bad defense by Ronnie Harrison. So you're in a cover 4 versus a 3-by-1 set, meaning you have three receivers to one side, one receiver to the other. Ronnie Harrison was on the backside to the single side receiver side. When you are in that situation in a cover 4, he keys up the number 3 vertical, which would be the inside slot or the tight end on the trip side. If that guy goes vertical, he's his. If that guy stays in the block, he gets his eyes to the number 2 to help out on a vertical for the safety that's over there. He didn't do that. He just took it. He just decided to do his own thing and help out the backside corner on the single side to just do whatever. Who doesn't need the help, is never expecting help, because he's essentially in man-to-man, knowing that he's not going to have safety help to his side, because that guy is likely going to go to, if there's going to be 4 verticals, he's got to be over there. So that was just bad play by Ronnie Harrison. I would not even say that's a miscommunication. It's just bad all around on his part.
You got to be dialed in. You can't have guys floating behind you or guys just, doing their own thing. Championship teams are not going to do that. And when you're playing to win, and when you're playing against teams that are 3-1, 4-0, 5-0, and you're playing the good teams, you can't beat good teams if you guys can't line up. And that's bare minimum. That's bare minimum. Just lining up, completing your job. We're not asking you to make the tackle yet, or diagnose or jump routes or do any of that. All we're saying is, can you line up correctly, and can you actually get back there, line up correctly, and execute the play, and all of you guys be on the same page? That's bare minimum. Tell me, is it just me, or is Anthony Walker lost in coverage? Because I'm looking at him and I'm like, I just feel like they just picking on him, man.
He's not a good coverage player, and to be honest, I mean, he's a mediocre football player. So they brought him in because he's fast as a linebacker. He runs like a 4.6 or something like that, which is great. But in Indianapolis, like, he got a lot of tackles and stuff like that and stuff, but like, his highest graded season was a rookie when he only had to play 115 snaps, and that was a 65.2. and he's graded 58.2, 61, 45.4 last year, 55 this year. So
we kind of was sold a bill of goods on that. Like I don't.
I said it from the beginning.
Yeah,
he's not good. So
there, I mean, I feel like in the publications, like they writing this dude in. Like I forgot. I'm like, did we get Darius Leonard? Did we get him instead of that guy? I'm like, because they acting like Anthony Walker was the deal. Like just because you switch your number to a single digit don't mean you're nice. In terms of where they were bringing people, how many they were bringing, I didn't see the level of 5-man rushes, 6-man rushes. I didn't see that against the Chargers. I just didn't.
No, so they blitzed on just 13% of the, basically 7 out of 52 times. So not a high rate there at all. Joe Woods has been mixing it up and stuff like that, but I think you don't have Clowney. That makes you probably should be blitzing a little bit more when you don't have Clowney, and you understand that like Clowney has been doing one of the best at getting pressure on the quarterback. I mean, that tandem of Myles Garrett and Clowney, Jadeveon Clowney has been excellent so far this year. So it probably would have been better to bring more blitzes, because Justin Herbert did have like a 50 some odd grade when he was blitzed, but they only blitzed, like I said, 7 times. And you talk about like from a Greedy Williams, he had the team high in tackles. I didn't even realize that. Mainly the reason why I didn't realize that is because I never actually really look at tackle numbers, because they don't matter to me in terms of what a guy, how productive a guy is in a game. So yeah, I guess he had 8 tackles in this game, but the thing is he also had 3 stops, didn't miss a single tackle, and was targeted 11 times, gave up 7 catches, but only for 43 yards. Mm-hmm. So and had a pass breakup. So there was a pass breakup. Yep. There was a number of plays there where they were doing like these smoke screens to his guy, and they were hoping to get yardage on him, and he was getting physical with those receivers and making, those quick tackles. So he played a really good game in terms of, for him, which is great to see. But you just need, obviously, the safety to be better in that game. And
if the Browns want to believe that they have to have every single person on their team be healthy for them to win, they're not going to win. I mean, this is the NFL. People get hurt. We haven't even lost anybody for the year yet. There's going to be guys hurt. There's going to be guys in and out of the lineup. We can't keep saying, hey, we'll wait till guys get ready. No, listen, if you're in there, I need you to get your mind together, be in your playbook, understand what your assignment is. To me, championships are won in 2 different places. How good can your backups come in and step up when they're asked to do a job, right? And haven't played in a while. And how good is your quarterback? Those 2 things. Like I got a quarterback, and my guys, when I'm asked to do something, they come in, guess what? They don't blow assignments. They step up, and they don't get absolutely destroyed. If you have those 2 things happen, you can be in contention. Moving to the offensive side of the football in this game, Baker Mayfield bounced back 305 yards. I think he was 23 or 32 or something like that. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. You talk about tackles not mattering because it doesn't tell you how well they play. In quarterback play, what do you not look at in quarterback playing stats? Because it doesn't necessarily tell you how you play. Mine is QBR.
But all those ones that you just mentioned, those stats don't matter to me. The traditional stats don't matter to me. So it's a matter of being able to, like, if you're playing well, generally the stats follow, for a quarterback, but they also can be misleading for quarterbacks. If you could have a big game and not have played well, it would have been on mostly on the team around you playing well. So Baker, I thought, played. I mean, obviously he was a lot better this game than he was against the Minnesota Vikings. Mm-hmm. And I think he played a solid game. Mm-hmm. But there were opportunities on that field that he missed, he passed up on, or just didn't see of guys open down the field. I put out a stat, and one of the things that we track is separation charting for wide receivers and defensive backs and all that stuff. And Odell Beckham Jr. so far this year is getting open on 72% of his routes 5+ yards down the field. Devontae Adams is getting open at the same exact rate. So, and OBJ, the thing is that over that time, Devontae Adams has been targeted 45 times versus OBJ's 25 times, right? So part of it is that typically the Packers do pass more, but the thing is that Rodgers is looking for him. Baker didn't look for OBJ in this game. There were actually a number of times where OBJ was wide open down the field. He should have seen him, and he didn't throw it to him. Sometimes you as an example, sometimes it doesn't even matter. Like on the Njoku touchdown that he had, OBJ was open on that play. So it's not as if Baker, maybe made the wrong read here. Obviously, he threw a great throw to an Njoku, and then Njoku, beasted himself, right? But like so that you're not always going to be able to hit every 100% of the opportunities when that guy is open, but you want to be able to get a guy who is getting open the ball, especially a guy like OBJ who is electric with the ball in his hands. So you think about second to last drive of the game where you cannot throw an incompletion, and Kevin Stefanski said so in his press conference afterwards that when he was asked about that play call, he said that he wanted to take a shot play to Donovan Peoples-Jones, who was running an out and up on the sideline there. It was this is that 2nd and 10 play. And there should have been an illegal contact call that was on him. But at the same time, if Baker is just a patient, in terms of what I mean by patient, is just like wait a hitch in his drop. Donovan Peoples-Jones came off of that redirect really quickly and was open. So you could get the ball to him, but if you choose to come off of him, which is fine because you see that he's getting redirected, there you had 2 other options there in OBJ underneath, who was wide open. If you're not supposed to throw an incompletion, that's the easy throw. Just throw it to him. He could make that guy miss that's playing in man coverage from 5 yards deeper than him, right? That's an easy one. And then you had Rashard Higgins, who had a step on Derwin James, but the ball that needed to be thrown there was an over the shoulder throw. He tried to rifle it in their back shoulder and threw an incompletion. So when that's a back-breaking type play, Kevin Stefanski is probably saying in his headset, you can't throw an incompletion here. Make sure that this doesn't fall incomplete. And then he goes and does that. Kevin Stefanski on 3rd down is thinking, man, I can't trust my quarterback to do what I'm telling him to do in these big-time moments. And he went into a shell and called a run play. And we all saw what happened on the last drive of the game. That was not good quarterback play. You can't get 11 yards and 3 passes and eat up a minute off the clock. That was all Baker Mayfield. There were guys open down the field on that 4 verticals. The first play was fine. The second play was a check down to Kareem Hunt. You throw it to Rashard Higgins down the seam against cover 2 over there, where the guy is flat-footed. The hook curl defender is flat-footed as Baker Mayfield checked that. But Rashard Higgins is going to beat any flat-footed defender all day, every day. I don't care if Rashard Higgins runs a 4.6. He's going to beat that, throw it to that spot up the seam, and that's a big gain of 30-plus yards. But he checked it down immediately, and you know what happened. So,
and I just want to, and I want to preface this so we could just say this and put this out there. Yes, there are times where people will bring up, well, he threw the ball to Odell Beckham Jr. on the 4th down, and Odell hit him in the face and he dropped it. Yes, Odell Beckham Jr. needs to catch that ball. That is a momentum drive killer, and you have to catch that football. Yes, that we absolutely saying that. What we're saying is this: when you're talking about in the 4th quarter, and when you're talking about later in the game, there are plays and positions that the defense wants you to throw the ball. There's positions where when they draw up a defense, they tell us all the time, guys, if they want to throw that ball right there, no problem. We can't cover that. We'll rally to that, make the tackle, make them take another snap. We know which plays they're supposed to be throwing the ball. We know where they're supposed to be hitting, and if they catch it there, fine. But they're also plays deep down the middle. It's not that you complete the pass. The high level part about being a quarterback is, can you complete the pass that is most optimum and that's going to make them change up what they're doing? Sometimes they're going to give you that, but if this is open, that's the number one. That's where you got to hit. You got to hit the deep plays. And if you look at it, the Browns can't consistently get the ball down the field more than 20 yards. We just can't. It just seems like everything is a slant, or everything's constricted.
Yes, Odell Beckham Jr. dropped a pass early in the game, but that doesn't mean you just block him out for the rest of the game. Jamar Chase dropped a pass in the game against the Packers. Yeah. You know what his stat line for the game was? He had 6 catches for 159 yards and a touchdown. He was targeted 9 times.
These are the things, and this is why I'm trying to, and I don't want to make this a thing, But I just want to make people understand. If people believe, and I like the run first game and all this other stuff, if people believe that the Cleveland Browns are going to run their way into the Super Bowl and throw underneath check down routes and run the ball and play action and use tight ends all the way to the Super Bowl, you're crazy. You've talked yourself into this. Like we know what the game plan is. We'll just, how easy is this? Why is it nobody else running this, right? Why is it nobody else running this play action game and check down game and run the ball with the two greatest running backs? Yeah, that sounds good. But if you think you're going to run this, when you play like this, you have no room for error. There's none. Do it. How do you explain to fans who say, well, I mean, Baker's 22 or 32 for 305 and 2 touchdowns. It's definitely not on him that they lost. And it's not like you're saying that he's the reason they lost. You're trying to explain a high level concept of, yes, you can complete that throw, but the optimum throw is this throw, and you're not throwing it. How can you explain that to a everyday fan?
You talk about the Cleveland Browns. They've been, the doormat of the NFL and the AFC North for 20 plus years or whatever it was. And then Baker Mayfield comes in and they're all of a sudden relevant, right? So I get where Browns fans look at that. They see that the Browns are now winning because of Baker Mayfield. And that's true. Like a lot of that is true because Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback. But the thing is, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, you want Baker Mayfield to have the respect nationally across the NFL to go from good to that elite level, great level. He needs to be able to make these types of plays. Like there are the throws that, you talk about Justin Herbert throwing that deep post to Mike Williams. If you see when he threw that ball, Mike Williams wasn't open.
He wasn't even broke. He didn't even break yet.
Yeah, but Justin Herbert read the defense and the leverage of what those guys are doing, understood it, and threw it out there so that Mike Williams can run under it. That's the high level of play that Baker Mayfield needs to get to.
When we come back, we're going to get into behind enemy line, talking about the Arizona Cardinals, undefeated team coming back home after a bit of a little road swing. It's the Cleveland Browns preview show on the Barbershop Network. Kosko's PFF grades are brought to you by BetUS.com. Bet with the 3-decade leader, BetUSA.com. Join now for 125% bonus or 200% bonus with crypto. Use the promo code BARBERSHOP and bet sports, casinos, horses, pop culture, and more at BetUS.com. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.
BetUS has been serving clients for 25 plus years and prides itself on being known as America's favorite sportsbook. With action on every sport across the world, we can pretty much guarantee that we've got your game. BetUS offers the industry's biggest retail bonus to keep our players betting longer. The BetUS loyalty program is legendary. We keep our players up to date with articles, players, teams, stats, and trends, giving you the right tools to make the best wagering decisions.
Make sure you guys check out BetUS.com and use the promo code Barbershop. BetUS.com. Around the AFC North is brought to you by Manscaped. Who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming? Champions of the world, Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family and your jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4. And I'm going to tell you what, this is freaking awesome, guys. Listen, this thing is sleek. This thing is cool. It runs very efficiently. And best of all, it does not cut you where you're most sensitive at. Don't get yourself twisted. This is the Barbershop. I would not tell you about something that don't clean you up right. You're going to get the Lawnmower 4. You heard that right, the 4. And you can join over 2 million people worldwide who trust Manscaped with the exclusive offers for you today. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code BARBERSHOP at manscaped.com.
Imagine shaving with a sleek, well-designed, and optimized trimmer that makes shaving time your favorite time in the bathroom. Manscaped engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent, functionality, and an incredibly comfortable grooming experience. Their 4th-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. It even allows you to customize your trim through additional guard lengths. Man, if you've been shaving with the same nut trimmer on your face, if you've been doing it wrong,
don't do that, man.
Don't do that. You could do it with your face, but if you don't want to mix and match there, so
I'll tell you what,
get yourself a new one.
I will tell you what, one of the things we talk about all the time is with these kind of trimmers and stuff is the cut. I thought, you're kind of apprehensive because I've cut myself before and it hurts whether it's on your face, but it really hurts down there. Also, they do a really good job of coming out with other different products. Right now, this is the crop preserver. If you use deodorant under your arms, why not use deodorant down there? This is clean, it feels effective, and it gives off no residue. That's what we're looking for when you're a big guy as well. And they have a handy dandy spray, which will really help you out as well. This is the Crop Reviver. Keeps you down there, keeps everything smooth and ready to go. And trust me, the significant other will like it. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code barbershop at manscaped.com. The 20% off with free shipping at Manscaped, and use the code word barbershop. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Welcome back to the Browns preview show on the Barbershop Network. G. Bush, John Kosko in the building. Moving on this week into the Arizona Cardinals. And I'll tell you what, man, Arizona Cardinals, I'm going to be honest with you, man. When we did the schedule game early in the season, I already had the Browns losing this game. I had the Browns taking the L.
Really?
Browns traditionally play terrible against the Cardinals anyway. In this game, you get a team coming in 5-0. Your thoughts on the Cardinals going into this game?
They're undefeated. They're playing extremely well. I would say that they're probably not quite as good as what their record is. I'd say that they were lucky to beat the Minnesota Vikings last second field goal that was missed. They beat the Titans, who don't really look all that great this year. Beat the Jaguars, who are just a train wreck right now. The most impressive win really they have are the Rams, because of the Rams were undefeated at the time. They came off of the victory to the Buccaneers, but I would just argue that the Rams didn't play very good in that game versus the Cardinals being this team that just kind of is wrecking the NFL right now.
I believe they're the best team that the Browns have played so far, because if I look at the Chiefs, I mean the Chiefs had taken I don't know if you've seen them lately, but their defense is just good gracious.
Their defense is atrocious, but they're off. So I know that Mahomes has 6 interceptions this year and their offense doesn't look right, but they still have the second most efficient offense in the NFL in terms of EPA per play. So basically on a per play basis, they are moving the ball down the field. They're number 1 in play success rate. They're number 3 in drives ending in a touchdown or a field goal. So their offense is still, playing at an extremely high level, but it's their defense that's essentially failing them. And then Mahomes isn't quite playing as good as he has in the past. But right. I mean, the Chargers, in terms of the Browns, is it the Chargers or the Chiefs or the Cardinals that is the best team? I would argue that the Chiefs are still maybe the better team. And then the Chargers are probably a more up and coming team. I think what the Arizona has going for them is that they've had a pretty easy schedule so far, and Kyler Murray is playing out of his mind. So I'd say Murray is a top 3 MVP candidate at this point. And I don't want to take any away from this team that's undefeated and everything like that, but I don't think they're the top team in the NFL right now. That I'd say they're a top 6 to 8 team type in that range.
And you kind of put a finger on it. What totally scares me about the Cardinals is Kyler Murray. He's I mean, because when he breaks out, that can be gone. He could be to the house. Like he breaks out, that's a touchdown. It's not like him and Lamar Jackson, if they scrambling around, and he does a lot with just moving around. And I think he does 2 or 3 things that the Browns are terrible at. One, lane containment, rush containment, and getting after the quarterback. 2, they never play well against mobile quarterbacks anyway. They give them a lot of time. Those guys make plays downfield, and then while they're making time and moving around, they can actually bust in coverage. And we've seen that against the Baltimore Ravens a couple of times, where running around and you find a guy and he's wide open. Kyler Murray, I believe, is the scariest person, one of the scariest 2 people for the Browns to play, because that's just what their weaknesses are.
Yeah, absolutely. Murray, like I said, Murray is playing at an extremely high level. He has 15 big time throws, just 3 turnover worthy plays this year, none in the past 2 games. His passing grade this year is an 85.4. So like he's doing it with his arm, and it really almost doesn't matter if you get pressure on him or not. Or if he's dynamite with the ball in his hands. If you talk about if he's clean, if in a clean pocket, his grade is an 81.9. If he's under pressure, he's an 88.9. If you blitz him, he's a 79.7. But when you don't blitz him, he's a 79.7. And when you blitz him, he's a 92.7. Like across the board, like right now, he's almost unstoppable. And in my opinion, what you have to do is you do still have to get pressure on him, but then keep him in a pocket. Because what happens is when he gets pressure, he's good and elusive enough that he can get out of the pocket. And then his throw that he's likely making is in a wide open space where he doesn't have the pocket around him to constrict him. So with him, he's 5'9" or 5, whatever it is, he's that short. If you can get pressure on him and somehow contain him, which is the thing that the Browns don't do at all, you could potentially stop him. The one weakness in his game is actually from a clean pocket and keeping him in rhythm, because he's got to do that from the pocket. So if you can keep him in that pocket, that's where you can limit this offense, I would say. It's a tall task, because as soon as he's feeling that, he's going to be quicker than everybody else on that field. Like he's basically like a Lamar Jackson with Mahomes type arm talent. That's who crazy. He is. It is. Crazy. I would say that, and he has more of the play like Mahomes in terms of a lot of the freelancing, running around in the backfield, waiting for somebody to get open and hitting them. And that's kind of like how Mahomes has made his living and stuff like that. And Murray scares you. I mean, he absolutely scares you. You have to be 100% sound in your assignments, and if you somehow get him in your grasp, you have to take him down.
And to me, if you look at it, if Jadeveon Clowney is not playing, and you don't have the ability to get Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney, and Takk McKinley on the field at the same time, where you have multiple freaks of nature running around, I don't see it. I don't see it working out like that. Because to me, like you said, and he has a guy in DeAndre Hopkins who just makes big catches. Like if he throws it up, he's gonna get it. Like there's a pretty good chance that he's gonna come down with it.
From a season-long standpoint, I know offensive linemen love to run the ball because it imposes their dominance and their will on the opponent. But from a season-long standpoint, like that's just not a sustainable model, because you're talking about in the run game, there's just so many collisions at this point of attack, and it's how people get hurt. Versus like in pass pro, like it's much easier like on the body for offensive linemen, for everybody involved, because there's less collisions. It's a less physical part of the game. So the Browns just have to get better in the pass game, more efficient in the pass game, and essentially that relies on Baker, being able to deliver the ball.
You bring up a very good point. And it's more of a high level, 40,000 feet type question, and posing that question. And I think all of us as Browns fans have to understand there's collateral damage, and there's always unintended consequences for things you do. If you throw the ball a lot, You get a lot of tip passes. You put your quarterback at risk a little bit more. He's dropping back. He's under duress. You can get interceptions more. You can knock down passes more. Those all are unintended consequences of you throwing the ball more. But when you're a run first team, yeah, it's cute to say, oh, we're just pounding people up. But you got to notice something, right? When you're running the ball that much for 2 years, look at Conklin. Every other game, I'm seeing him get off that ground, right? Look at Jed Wills. He's already banged up. Teller has been banged up. JC Treader has been banged up. So all the linemen, just because they're imposing their will, they're taking and absorbing hits. Your running backs are taking and absorbing hits. And that is not a sustainable model. If you're going to be running that, Hubbard's gone for the year already. That's not a sustainable model if you're going to be that much run first. There needs to be a mix or more sustainable mix with the passing game in order to get people through the game. I think that's a very big point that I don't think people bring up.
Yeah, I think, and also too, passing is just the more efficient way of moving the ball down the field. I mean, think about it from the ultra traditional statistics and stuff like that. The average run play gets you 4 to 5 yards. The average pass play gets you 7 to 8 yards. That in itself is if you can know it, and if the better your quarterback is, the more yards per attempt you can get. And even it's just so like from a league wide standpoint. So like if let's go into the analytics more of expected points per play, added per play. The average run play over the past 4 seasons gets you negative expected points added. So what is an expected point? So for pre-snap, what are the expected points that you have that you're going to score on this drive? And then after the play, what the result of that play, how many, what's the expected points from that point of it? Is it 2nd and 10 or is it 1st and 10? Like what is the difference between those two? That's your added per play. It's negative. So every time you run the ball, essentially you're getting further away from scoring the ball on average. Obviously if it's a situation matters in this, but this does take into situation. But for a pass play, it's positive. So every pass play drop back you have, your proposition is that it's on average, it's going to be a positive play. So you're getting closer to scoring. So it's you want to be able to try to pass it more because it is the more efficient way. It's the more economical way. It's easier on your team. And then when you have one of those elite quarterbacks like a Patrick Mahomes has over the past, since he became the starter in the NFL, the Chiefs have been the gold standard of passing. They average 0.286 EPA per play. Browns in that time frame are 0.058. So that kind of paints the difference of like how good Patrick Mahomes has been, and Drew Brees and the Saints are at 0.188, and that's second best. So that's where the Browns need to get to become one of these elite teams in the NFL, is that they have to be able to pass it at a high level, an elite level.
I think the Browns right now are struggling with their passing game. I think you see them struggle to win against good teams because good teams force you into predictable things. They force you into the things that they want you to do. And yes, they'll give away some yards, but they don't let you hit on the big plays downfield. And they do that defensively. But I still think that the Browns still are a run-first team. I still think that they have to continue to run the football. The keys to the game for the defense, for me, I just think they're going to have their hands full with Kyler Murray. I think they're going to have to contain rush. If they're going to bring guys, I think you have to confuse them a lot. I think they got to be very multiple in this game. And you can't have any busts in the secondary. But letting him sit back and hang out all day is not going to work. You have to bring somebody. Joe Woods, you got to bring somebody. You can't just sit back there and let them have a tea party. They're going to have to be multiple, and I think bringing pressure is the only way to get out of a spot. So those are the keys to the game for me. What are the keys to the game for you?
Offensively, they're going to be able to run the ball, and I think they need to continue to be able to run the ball. But again, like I just go on it, Baker Mayfield needs to make throws when the throws are there and just be efficient with the passing game. Whether that's looking to OBJ's way more often and just getting out of your picking up your head out of sand and being able just to read the defenses when he's out there on the field, because it is a real thing right now for him. And if he can get his swag back and become the player that we we know he can be, they shouldn't have a problem with winning this game, because he does match up with this defense extremely well, and where he likes to target, his passes. He targets a lot of them to tight ends and running backs, and the Cardinals are really poor at actually defending those. So this is a game that does match up really well for Baker's skill set and what he's been targeting so far this year. On the defensive side, like you just have to be able to contain, like I said, we were talking about earlier, contain Kyler Murray in the pocket, make sure that he doesn't get out there and start running around and making plays with his legs and his arm outside of the pocket. And if you can do that and keep your pass rush lane integrity, it allows you to the secondary to do what they need to do, and it's going to frustrate Kyler Murray, who can't see over the offensive lineman very well because of his size, and he's going to want to get out of the pocket. So if you have to blitz him to be able to do that, the problem is, like I said, he has a 92.7 grade when you blitz him. You just have to be able to contain him in that pocket as long as you possibly can.
Yeah, no doubt. They have to have lane integrity. Without that, it's a wrap. Let's get into X factors. This is an easy X factor for me, and I'm going to put a little emphasis on it. On the offensive side of the ball, listen, this is, if you do not get Odell Beckham Jr. the ball, you're not going to win this game. I'm just telling you. And some people may think is I'm talking about it like from a standpoint where I just, oh my goodness, you're just putting the cape on for Odell Beckham Jr. No, I'm putting the cape on for the fact that this is how football it has to be played. You're not gonna beat teams by trickling the ball down the field 2-3 yards at a time. Just too many things that can happen. People make plays. It's just not gonna work in the pros. You need big plays. This guy's a big play guy. He's open 72% of the time. Throw him the ball. It'll help you out. Trust me. You got him sitting out there for no reason. Don't believe the hype. Like you're better off with throwing check downs to tight ends. It's not. Get him the rock. It'll help you out tremendously. And if you do, you can win this football game. If not, I don't got y'all win this game. The X factor defensively, I don't know if he's coming back. Jadeveon Clowney. Boy, I didn't know. For all them people that was talking about, we don't need Clowney. That pressure that he was bringing, boy, we need that back, because with just Myles Garrett out there, we flashed back to last year. I need that back. Jadeveon Clowney is the X factor of the game. Hopefully he's able to play, because then I can run my 3 defensive end package. I can run people around. We can move around and do some things, but we need him back. We need Jadeveon Clowney. X factors of the game, offensively and defensively, for you, Kosko. What you got?
Baker Mayfield, X factor on offense. He needs to get back to his 2020 form and be that type of guy. That the reason why I ranked him in that top of that second tier in my quarterback rankings. As of right now, he's seeing his way quickly out of it. So if that guy can come back, this team, this trajectory is way up. So I want to see that type of guy back. He needs to get his issues fixed, and he needs to start just balling out, essentially. Because if he's not right, they're not winning this game. Like, if you can still get the ball to OBJ a handful of times, stuff like that, but Baker Mayfield needs to play good football, find that open receiver that is downfield and has been schemed open, and actually hit him. And then when plays are there to be made, like if you're in crunch time, you've got to make them. On defense side of the ball, my X factor is essentially not Joe Woods, and getting this defense not screwing up coverages and being coached up to the whole unit of being able to stop this offense. They got so many weapons on this offense that Kyler Murray, anybody busts their coverage, Murray's going to find them, especially with that arm talent. He can flip it 60 yards like it's a flick of his wrist down the field. So I think for me, it's essentially Joe Woods and his defensive game plan of being able to stop Kyler Murray in this offense. Essentially, all 11 guys on that defense that are out there need to play sound and not bust their assignments or miss their assignments or miscommunicate and stuff like that. And that essentially comes down to the coaches and the game plan.
Oh man, let's get to let's get to the predictions of the week. Look, I said it before. I'll say it now. I think this is the first game of the year that I picked the Browns to lose this game. I do not have the Browns. I do not, I repeat, have them winning this game, especially if they got a number of people out. Right tackle looks like he's out. Jedrick Wills looks like he's going to be out. Greedy Williams had an MRI. We don't know what's up with Newsome. Clowney, his knee is acting up again. That doesn't, and these are all defensive guys. There's a lot of defensive guys. From what I've seen, the Browns traditionally just really don't play well against guys who run the ball and running quarterbacks and athletic guys that extend plays. I could just imagine Kyler Murray running naked boots, and I just can see him just tiptoeing in the end zone time after time. I got the Cardinals winning this game. I got them winning 28. No, it might be. Matter of fact, it's higher than that. 35 to 24 Cardinals win this game.
No, for me, I think the Browns right now, the Browns are favored by 3, which is interesting against, the only undefeated team not getting favored in a game. They are on a road. I think the Browns match up with this team extremely well from an offensive standpoint. Like, they're going to score points in this game because they just, that's what they do on offense. As long as Baker Mayfield's not, throwing it like he did in the Vikings game. So to me, I think the Browns on offense do enough, because this Cardinals defense is also just not very good. Mm-hmm. They rank kind of middle of the pack in the NFL. They actually kind of played pretty poorly in multiple of their games. I'd say against the Vikings, they gave up 33 points in that one, should have been 36. And I think they got benefited by just Trey Lance not being a very good quarterback last week against the 49ers. So for me, I think this is going to be like another kind of a barn burner type game. I'm expecting like 38-35. I think the Browns win it in that fashion.
38-35, man. I hope you're right, man. I really do. I hope you're correct, but we're not just saying it's Baker Mayfield, but there's very small room for error when you're talking about playing teams that are 5-0, and we're talking about the Super Bowl, not just being better than the 1999 Browns or not being better than Bernie Kosar or Brian Sipe. That's not the goal. The goal isn't to be the best you've ever seen. The goal is to be the best team in the NFL this year. That's what the goal is. So when you're watching the program, understand of the standard that we're talking about, not the best you and your friends have ever seen since Bernie was playing and Brian Sipe. That's not the game. We're talking about, are you better? Because being better than those guys ain't going to help you beat Patrick Mahomes. I'm sorry. Because these guys are good, super good, not playing around good. Hopefully we can get there. It's the middle of the season, and we always root for the Browns. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you for everybody for being a part of the show. We keep rocking and rolling. We up around that 7,000 and 8,000. We want to thank everybody for subscribing to the channel, liking the videos, and watching the Browns preview every single week. We will catch you again next week. Hopefully we can be talking about a Browns win. For G. Bush and John Kosko, this is the Browns preview show on the Barbershop Network. Go Browns. Let's get that win.